today I'll be presenting the Fract board for my math kit item. So the Fract board, this is an item that we use to do fractions, mixed fractions, addition and multiplication and subtraction of fractions. So the fraction board has a lot of purposes, but this is the complete unit, and it can be separated like this. So we'll actually show you how it's used. So we'll actually pull out the bottom piece of the fraction board to take out the items. So we have our cards right there, we have our questions, we have our next set of cards, we have our eraser that comes with it, and two markers also come with it. So they are all stored at the bottom of the fraction board. So the main purpose of the fraction board is to allow persons with dyscalculia who normally have issues remembering math concepts and math procedures. It can also be used in the general education classroom, and it's best for grades 3 to 6. So I'm going to show you a quick example of how to use the fraction board. So when we look right here, we have the whole number concept, the numerator, and the denominator. And over here we have the same thing, but this is where we have the written fraction, and the questions we have our worded fractions. For example, if I were to pick a question from the question sheet, right? It says create the fraction 2/3. What the students would do right now is to put it down, and they will create the fractions 2/3. So they will actually write the fraction 2/3, or they could create it first and write it afterwards. For example, 2, and they put the thirds right down here. So over here, this represents the denominator, the denominator, which is 3 down here. This serves as the whole, right? 3. And we only considered the numerator, we only considered 2 out of the 3. So that would mean over here, for the numerator, they would put 2, and for the denominator, they put 3, because only 2 is considered out of the 3. For mixed fractions, it's the same thing. But for mixed fractions, we add an additional step to the process. So use rubber and rub it all out. For the mixed fractions, we have a separate part. So they know that this means a whole. This counts as a whole number. So we could answer a second question. Create the mixed fraction 2 1/3. So they would know that two holes, right? 1 whole, 2 whole, and a third. 1, 2, 3, and 1 is considered out of the third, so it would be 2 1/3. And then they'll write that same fraction over here, 2 1/3. That's how they will get the basic concept of how to do mixed fractions and normal fractions. But on the next closer example, we can also use this to do the set model, which is grouping. That requires you to use this attachment. So, if you're going to ask your students, right, create the fraction, let me check, 2/5, right? They would know that the whole has 5 fifths. That's right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5. And you tell them that to turn over the 2 that's considered to get 2/5. So turn this over, turn this over. So the bottle caps that are not turned over, well, the bottle caps in total or 5s, and those are turned over, or 2, so it'd be 2/5. So they could use this part right here to work out as a set model right there. They could actually put it right here, in here, as the actual model, so like 2/5, and they could also represent it over here, as they know that the denominator contains 5, which are fifths, and 2 is considered. So this is the proper way of using the Fract board. And remember, it can do addition of fractions, multiplication of fractions, it can do all of them. So that's my presentation on the Fract board.